Hello there, this is Teacher Wayne and I'm continuing my Unity 2018 series on making a zombie survival game. I started the weapon system in the last video, and in this video, my part 2 video, I'm going to look at hit markers. So you've got a game that I left it where it looks like this. Press play. We've got it so that the guys are running towards us, and if I just clear this here, as you're shooting them, you can see you hit them, but there's no effect of bullets or anything. I'll just die a bit here. There's no way of looking where our actual bullets are actually going, so what we need is a way of looking at some sort of end point that we shoot at. So in order for that, we're going to be using the particle effects system, and I've already created a prefab here, and I'm just going to briefly go in. I've called it hit marker. All the hit marker is just a particle system. If I just drag it here out of the prefabs, wrong button, and have a look. Oh, it's gone to 0 because it's sorry, that's my bad. Let's go back here, go back to the zombies. Right, if we look at the hit marker, if you look, it's just got a particle system. Now I'm going to provide this asset that you can just use yourself, but all it is a particle system. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. It starts with a colour, ends with a colour. I've ticked certain of the boxes. I've had a play with it. It's based off the firework, which is one of the built-in assets that you get with Unity, so it's not actually that special. But what we're going to be doing is when we fire them, we're going to get some sort of, it looks like a little mini sparks flying when you hit them, so that you can see where you're hitting them, and I think it's quite useful to have that within game. And what we're going to do is when we pull up my script here, and if I look at player, before we had it where it hits, so here we want it to what's known as we've got a debug going, so we know what we're hitting, but what we also want is some sort of visual feedback of what we're hitting, some sort of sparks flying effect, or a bullet bouncing off, bullet effect. And it's just a particle effect I've created. There are a lot of free assets you can get from the asset store that probably can do this better, but this is one I've just played about with and knocked up together myself in 5 minutes. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is we're going to instantiate, it's called, which means create an object, and we're going to instantiate where we do it. So here, this bit here is pointing to the location of where we're hitting. So what we want to do is I'm just going to show you the script that we're going to actually do to actually instantiate our hit marker. So just give me 2 seconds. Right, okay, so what we're going to do is here, well, before we do that, we need a reference to this object, and we're going to use, I'm going to do a separate video at some stage. There's different ways of doing it. This is one way of accessing it. This is we're accessing the HUD manager this way. If we do, I could do public and then link to it, but there's another way called serialized field. Now I'm just going to type it in, serialized field. There it is. It comes straight up when you just type it, serialized field. And what we're going to do, we're going to create a private variable, and we're doing a game object, and it's a game object. I'm just typing game object there. We want a link to the hit marker. We don't want to call it hit marker because we've already. What have I actually called it in my prefabs? I've called it capital H. So I'm going to make it. Doesn't really matter because it's underscore hit marker. I'll just make it all lowercase. I'll make it capital M. I always like to do that. Hit marker. So we're going to serialize field that. Now if I click on player and scroll down here, eventually there, can you see it says hit marker? So what you do is you grab the hit marker and you drag it over there. It's very similar, if I'm being honest. If I made that public, I'd get exactly the same effect, except that this locks it in more than a public. Use public when you're doing your sort of alphas, this is sort of helps it, makes it more of a finalized finished product, because we're making it private. No other game object can access it. If we make it public, we may get conflicts with other ones, so it's better to keep it private. But anyway, so public now, we've got a link to the hit marker, so we've got a link to this object, game object. Actually, I've got it up there. I'm going to just delete it from there because I want to keep it as a prefab only. And what we want to do is we want to now instantiate that. So I'll go back down once again to here. I'm going to instantiate. And the way we do that is we type in instantiate. So we're going to do instantiate, and there it is. And instantiate just means create from the prefab. So first thing we're going to do is we need to point to our prefab, which is hit marker. Hit marker, there it is, because we've got it. We're instantiating it. And what we're going to instantiate, where we want it, we want it at the hit info dot point. So it's the hit info, and it's dot point there. So we want to put it there. So in other words, where we're clicking with our mouse, when we're clicking it, where the raycast is hitting, we want it there. And we want to instantiate it, and we want it, what's the rotation? We want it to be what's known as the correct rotation. If we don't do it, we rotate it all over the place every time we spawn it, and it won't be looking the right way around, because this particle effect I've set so that it affects in a certain rotation. So we're going to keep it in the same rotation. So we do this criterion, I can't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and we want to do look rotation, and it's going to be in the, once again, hit info dot normal, in other words, where we are looking. And I think that should create the hit marker at a certain place at wherever we click in. It should pop up. Just check, we've got it linked there. Let me just press play and see if this works. There we are. I can see you've got sparkle effect. You can see where he's shooting now. Now, one flaw we've got straight away. Oh, I press play again. She didn't miss you missed the flaw then. One bug, if you look here, if I go into scene, look, can you see every time I click, it leaves the game object, it still exists. You can have hundreds of them. Imagine if you got 1,000, it'll really lag your game down. So we need a way of these objects deleting. So once again, we're just going to create a really simple script, just to simply, so that it just sort of dies. So we'll call it hit marker, and we're going to add it to the prefab. Hang on. What's happened here? Give me a minute. Something is playing up here. Alright, okay. Sorry for that. Some sort of issues there. So for the hit market, we're going to add a component. We're going to add a script that exists. Script. I'm going to type it hit marker. There it is. The script I've just created, so it links to the hit marker script, which we are working on, which is this one. So let's open this up. And what we want this simple to do is it's just going to simply destroy itself, but we don't want it to destroy itself straight away. We want it to destroy itself after a certain period, say 1 second. So you're going to destroy, and what we're going to destroy, we're going to destroy ourselves, because this is attached to it. So we're going to hit marker destroy. So it's this dot game object, you know, ourselves. And when do we want to destroy it? Let's just say, if you look here, object that we're going to destroy, which is ourselves, and when we're going to destroy it, float t. So we'll say 1f 1 second, and that's it. So you don't need the void update, because there's no updates takes place. All it does is appear 1 second later, it goes. So let's see if that fixes the problem. created a bug and immediately fixed it. That's what we like. And there, can you see they're all appearing and going. Obviously no damage is taking place to the zombies, but the clones are all doing. So anyway, that's the hit marker element done. I'm going to continue the video and doing more of the weapons systems shortly. So anyway, this is Teacher Wayne, hoping you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much and goodbye.